What is up, Beast Mode moms and dads? It's Christian father, husband, coach, and autism advocate, your host, Trey Turner. Welcome to the Superhero Parent Pod, a voice for the voiceless and a lending ear for all those who feel like they're struggling alone. This is the safe place where each week we go behind the scenes and enter into a world that most people have no clue even exists. So welcome, sit back, and enjoy the untold stories now told of strengths, struggles, blessings, and one never-ending journey of parenting a child with special needs. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Superhero Parent Pod, episode 7, with Miss Steffani Sutton. Miss Steffani, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we're going to be discussing her 11-year-old son, Wesley. Is that correct?
Yes.
Gotcha. And where are y'all located? I know where you're located, but for everybody listening, where y'all at?
In Hopkinsville.
And is that where y'all originally from or grew up at?
My husband is from here. I grew up in Clarksville and then moved here, but we've been here for 16 years.
Gotcha.
Or I have, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, we used to live in Clarksville back 10 or 11 years ago, and
yes.
We was, no offense to Clarksville, but we was glad to get out of it when we did.
Yes, I wouldn't go back to Clarksville.
Yeah. No offense to anybody from Clarksville that's listening.
Yes.
But anyways, and Wesley is only child. How many siblings?
He is the second child. He has an older sister who is 15.
Gotcha. So 4-year difference.
Yes.
Gotcha. And so I always like starting out on a good note. I ask everybody the same question here before we actually get into it. But what's one thing or maybe something that Wesley's done? It doesn't have to be recent, but maybe something positive, something milestone, something that he did, something as simple as having a new therapist that worked out good or something. But what's something maybe Wesley did over the last few weeks or months that really was a big breakthrough or something positive?
Well, for us, I think the biggest change has been he's now in the middle school. He had a great support team in the elementary school, but now 6th grade is at the middle school. So our biggest thing has just been transition from elementary to the middle school. We're still working on it, but we're getting there. So I'll take that as a huge achievement for us.
Does he hate routine changes and transitions?
Yes.
Yeah. Isaiah, it's the worst for, something as simple or something as big as changing schools. Yeah.
Yes.
What's the elementary go up to 5th grade or?
Yes.
8th grade? Okay.
Last year they changed it and moved 6th grade back to the middle school. So he's now in middle school and it's 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so brand new teacher, brand new, y'all do is it MSD? They call it the MSD room or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and he's in that more or gets pulled out and goes to other classrooms or?
No, he's in there all day and then he gets to go out for gym time.
Yeah. That's kind of the way they have Isaiah's laid out too.
Yeah.
When we transitioned him into the MSD room, we was kind of hesitant, but once we put him in there, huge turnaround. Like he was in the normal classroom too much and we made the decision to move him over. And when we did, really saw a lot of progress.
Yes.
Will's 11. And when was he officially diagnosed?
So I'm a nurse and I knew very early that something was different. So Wesley was actually diagnosed at 18 months old. He did everything early though. So like he could roll over at 3 weeks old, which was insane. And he had physical strength that I've never seen a child have before.
Yeah.
And he did start talking. So he had about 40 words and then he regressed and lost all of them. So he is totally nonverbal. Well, I say totally nonverbal. He says mom, but it's not always geared towards me. It could be towards anything. But that's about his only word anymore is mom. So that's been, having a child who's 11, who's totally nonverbal, comes with a whole issue,
Yeah. A lot of heartbreak there, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you'll be the first one we've spoken to who's got a completely nonverbal child. So I believe so. Yeah. So that in and of itself is a completely different world that you're living in, even than what I'm living in.
Yes.
So what kind of signs, other than the physical strength, was he lining up trains in certain orders or counting any of that?
So he didn't do the trains, which surprised me because, everybody's like, autistic kids love trains. Well, Wesley didn't
Yeah.
like trains. He liked letters. And so he would put alphabet letters, like puzzle pieces. They always had to be in order, or he would do number blocks 1 through 20, always in order. But his favorite thing was he would stick small manipulatives, whether it was like a little Disney character, but he would slide them under the door and then reach under and pull them back out. And he could do that for hours. He would just lay on his belly and push them out and then reach his hand out and pull them back.
Pull them back.
So, yeah.
What about lights in the house? Certain doors have to be open or closed? Not?
The lights didn't come around for a long time, but now they're a favorite. Every light in our house is on. It stays on. If we turn it off, he turns it right back on.
Yeah, that's Isaiah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just started recently too, because people had asked us about the lights and the doors, and now every light has to be on, and then the utility room door usually has to be open for whatever reason. He does not like that door being shut. Where did you all get him diagnosed at? Through First Steps or?
So he had First Steps, and we were sent to Wisecoff in Louisville, and they did his evaluation and diagnosis.
Well, say that one again.
Wisecoff.
Okay.
It's in Louisville.
I've never heard of that one before. And from there, Hopkinsville, resources, occupational behavior, y'all start him immediately, or?
He did. He finished out his First Steps, and then we were transitioned into preschool. So he did start preschool at 3.
Yeah.
At that time, we were doing a lot of independent therapy. So we were paying for occupational and speech. He didn't need physical. I mean, he was okay in physical. We tried both of those. OT, he would progress, and then speech, we did PECs for many years, and he just would not respond to the picture exchange. So we went through a lot of speech therapists. They just couldn't figure out what to do next. So we eventually got an AAC device, which now he uses an iPad with an app on it. We do the TD Snap app, and he can use it when he wants to. He likes to choose when he wants to use it. We did pay for private ABA therapy for a while. It just didn't work out. Where we're at, there's one location, and it was not 1-on-1. It was 4-to-1. So it was not what we thought it was going to be. Yeah.
The lack of resources, Southern Kentucky, I think, is like one of the biggest needs of lack of resources for therapies and stuff like that, at least from what I've heard and people have told me.
Yes.
Where we go, it's the Kids Spot in Bowling Green, and they do occupational behavioral. But since we've started there, they've never stopped hiring.
Yes.
Like throughout the entire time. And then, of course, they move on to bigger and better jobs. Some therapists do. And then your child's used to that one. And then all of a sudden they're not there.
Yes.
That's also then that changed, and that routine being thrown off. It's just like starting all over again.
It is. Yes.
And you all started him in preschool at 3?
Yes. And Wesley is very personality driven. So he either really likes you or he really doesn't. So it's very hard for us to find compatible people that can work with him, because you know very quickly whether he's even going to attempt to work with you.
Yeah. That's kind of the same way Isaiah is too. He fills you out, but it's like they judge like at a different level than, and I don't know what it is, but it's almost like when a dog comes around you or like is trying to get to know you, like they have like a sixth sense. I don't know what to say about. We've noticed that too, that Isaiah wouldn't take to certain people. I mean, we wouldn't understand why, but then we'd later find out like that person actually was like a bad person or something, you know?
Yeah. We joke all the time that if Wesley doesn't like them, we're not going to like them, because typically he's right.
That means something's up. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool how they can sniff that out. I don't know if it's just someone else's BS or just their personality or what it is, but they catch on to it quick.
Yes.
Is so from 3 preschool and then started elementary school with a MSD room, I assume.
Yes, he's been in MSD. So preschool, he was in the class with everybody else, but then kindergarten through 5th grade has been MSD classroom.
And as far as the resources there, transitioning from elementary school to middle school, how does that process work? Or from the elementary school to the middle school?
So we've had kind of a crazy go with this whole ordeal, which I'm a teacher in this district. I'm a nurse and I'm a teacher also. So I was I'm very in tune. I'm at every IEP meeting. I want everything the right way. And we had a great plan but, plans don't always work. So the teacher, actually, her father had passed away. So we were supposed to go and meet all the staff before, make sure he was acclimated after her father passed. I mean, there wasn't any time.
Right.
So we're still working on it. We're not quite where we want to be yet, but we're going to get there. So it's been a big change for him.
Yeah. Isaiah switched schools from one elementary school to another one, and all the worrying and stuff, it ended up everything worked out. But
Good.
There was a lot of concern there because he'd had the same teacher for almost 3 years. He still asked for Miss Strish,
Yes.
at least once a week, asked for her. Like, buddy, you don't go there anymore, But yeah, that's and explaining it to him.
Yes.
That's it's hard.
Yes. When we get to drop-offs, I can tell what day is going to be good and what day is going to be bad just by how he's acting getting out of the car. Some days he'll go in fine, and some days you can tell he does not want to be at school at all.
Yeah, I get that. And too, I mean, sitting in a classroom for 8 hours for Isaiah, he needs that sensory input, and
Yes.
to be able to go out and climb and grab and do things. That is one thing I'm glad they actually give, I think they give him, I know, at least 2 recesses, sometimes 3, to where they can get outside and get that out. As far as his sister, what's her name?
Haley.
So that dynamic going through the school, is Haley the big sister that protects her brother?
I think it depends on the situation. She's great with him here. She's one of the people that he will go to, and he listens to her. But at school, she's a teenager now. She wants to do her thing. But if she hears somebody talking about Wesley, she'll jump in and be like, yeah, we're not doing that today. But
that's awesome.
She just sees him, which they're at 2 different schools now, but when she would see him, they would let her go and talk to him, things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Growing up, did they get along well?
Yeah, they actually get along really well. Wesley is the boss. He's the boss of our house, I say. So she knows when he's going to demand something, and she kind of favors him and lets him get away with stuff.
Yeah. Larry Grace is the same way. She's learned how to handle so much and manage. She's Isaiah's little caretaker, but I think growing up with a special needs child in the house, really, as much as maybe a burden sometimes it feels like, or that the other child isn't getting as much attention. Sometimes we feel guilty of that.
Yeah.
I also see the benefit to it too, because Larry Grace gets to see people in a different way.
Yes. And I feel the same way. We miss, especially for a few years, I felt like we really missed a lot because with Wesley's needs, we can't always just jump in the car and go. Sporting events, I mean, I take him, I make him go, but it may not look like a typical family. He may be on the floor screaming because he don't want to be there. And I'm like, yeah, we're staying. We're going to do this. And, people are staring, but it's come to me, it doesn't bother me anymore. It did in the beginning, but it doesn't anymore. But you can tell, for her, she doesn't want everybody to know that's her brother. But she is the caretaker. If I need to run to the store, she can watch him, and he'll listen to her. So, and I agree. She sees that people are different. And, you just get a different dynamic if you live with somebody who has special needs that you're not going to get if you don't. Yeah.
And I'm sure there are times where it does feel like a burden to that other sibling, or that they're getting something taken away from them.
Yeah.
As far as his progression through school with being nonverbal, how is that laid out? I mean, as a teacher, I'm sure you know more than most. How is that process laid out?
For us, it's been, so we write his IEPs, and we're very careful about the way we word it and what we want. Yeah. This year, we have kind of transitioned from elementary. We were focused on reading and writing, and now we're not. Our goals have changed. We're more worried about life skills. Can he walk safely outside? Things like that. And using his device. So, elementary, we would have words, and he would have to spell the words out with the little picture cards or just alphabet letters. Now we want all of his stuff on the device because he has it with him, and we're in an electronic world now. So that's been a big change for us, not worrying about the typical schooling that you would think of for a child.
That's something that Isaiah's actually gotten to take part in this year. They have a separate class from the MSD, but a special there's like an MSD and then there's like a special ed teacher. I get there's a like different, but the special ed teacher pulls him out and takes him for an hour or two life skills and how to share and be around others and like
Yes.
that stuff. And when I found out that, I was like, that's what I wish they was teaching more of,
Yes, I agree. And that's something we've had to fight for, which really surprised me, that it's not just automatic, especially which Wesley's a little more severe than most. I mean, he is so smart. It's unbelievable. Like, his receptive language is 100%. He knows exactly what you're saying, but he likes to play people, and he's going to act like he does not so he can get out of everything.
Yeah. I know all too well about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Isaiah will just say one word or something and he can get by or just point or whatever. And if we give it, like, you just get so used to it, but then you realize like, hey, he's getting by not doing his full capability of what he could do,
Yes.
I was, we did a summer Camp Happy Days. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I haven't.
It's in Bowling Green. It was awesome. And we're going to take Isaiah back every year, but it's for special needs, and it's a month-long camp in the summer. And when I would drop Isaiah off, I would kind of hang back for a few minutes and just make sure he was okay. But there's always this one boy, and he was using this tablet and that same app he was talking about to communicate. I didn't realize that he was nonverbal until like the second week, but every morning he had these Lego towers built that were like incredible. And he was just doing it with he was just putting them together, no instructions or nothing, just building this on his own. And it wasn't until the second week he came up to me and introduced himself, on that tablet thing. And it almost made me cry. And he said, I can't remember what his name was now. And I shook his hand. I said, my name's Trey. And then he was like, are you a dad, or whose dad are you, or something? But yeah, I would have never known he was nonverbal just watching him put those Legos together.
Yep.
As he's grown and now almost a teenager and through the elementary school and middle school, what's your next, I guess, biggest fear or biggest concern as far as what he's going to have to go through next?
For me, the fear is safety. I do worry about people who don't know Wesley, but the amazing thing is Wesley doesn't care about other people's opinions. So that's a blessing. Like, I wish I was more like that, because
me too.
You could say whatever you want and he doesn't care about your opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
But safety is probably my biggest worry, which we have made huge strides. Like, he used to be a big elopement risk and a big time what we consider a runner.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do that quite as much anymore. He is an elopement risk, but he doesn't run like he used to. So that is a huge improvement for us. Going through the rest of the middle school, it's just learning how to use that device and making sure that he can tell people his needs, because I can usually pick it up. He can make a grunting sound and I'll be like, oh, I know what you want.
I know what you're saying,
but, yeah. But then other people that aren't around him as much as I am, they don't know. So making sure, that's probably our biggest goal, safety, and making sure he can communicate those needs to everybody else.
The last interview we did, woman's name was Christy, and she has a teenage daughter with autism. But we was talking about it, and I was like, it's like learning a whole new language.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. Like it's like having to learn an entire new language. For you, it'd be like that times 10 or something, I would expect.
Yep. And I mean, you learn. It's a learning experience for me every day, just like it is for him. But you pick up on exactly what he wants, depending on what type of cry it is that day or giggle. I can usually tell exactly what he's laughing at, when most people are like, I don't know why he's laughing, but I mean, I can usually tell pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So.
How has that impacted in the home? Do you find yourself at a level to where you could ever not stress, or are you always kind of on that heightened sense of something could go wrong at any time?
I live in that heightened something could go wrong.
Okay.
I thought I was going to come out of that, around 4 or 5. That's when I kind of accepted, this is going to be our life. It is what it is. I went through the grieving process and tried, like, it's going to be okay. No, it's not. I'm constantly worried. Like, what if he does get away? And when he's with me, he listens really well to me, but he doesn't always listen to everybody else. So what if I leave him with somebody and something happens? Or what if I take him to school and something happens? So I live in that stress 24/7.
I understand, not to that degree, but I often struggle with that too. Just being able to, even when I'm sitting down and not doing anything, just relaxing.
Yep.
What was that grieving process like? As far as, I guess you already had an idea that something was up. Was it an immediate shock, or was it a slow burn?
I think because we knew so early, we knew very quickly that he wasn't hitting the milestones, and I was pretty ready for them to tell me it was autism. Like, I knew going into the evaluation that was probably the diagnosis we would get. But it took me a long time, a couple of years. So he was diagnosed at 18 months. I would say it took me a few years because I wanted to be that parent that was going to beat it. Like, we were going to start talking. We were going to live a normal life. We were going to go to school. And that didn't happen. Wesley put me in my place. Like, we're learning how to progress, but I can remember we lived at doctor's offices and therapists, and Wesley would go back and I would be like falling asleep on the couch because I would stay up all night because he didn't sleep for 2 years, which thankfully we're out of that, and he sleeps at night now. But for 2 years, he might have slept an hour at night. And
you're kidding.
Yeah, no.
that was up until he's 3 years old.
Yeah. So he was little, he could walk and he could get into everything. So he couldn't be unsupervised.
Yeah.
I would say that's been the hardest part of our whole journey, but it was all me. It wasn't Wesley. It was me dealing with the grieving and figuring out how we were going to move through. But it did take a while.
Yeah. And the no sleep just is like you're dying inside slowly.
Yeah. And I would just apologize to like the office staff and be like, if I start snoring, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to fall asleep.
It just adds to, the revolving wheel. My pastor, he has a joke, and I can't remember it. He said, people use lack of sleep as torture in some countries or, some prisons or whatever. Because when we were going through similar, not that bad, but I would meet with him and just talk about how tired I am. And Isaiah wasn't ever that bad, though. An hour a night's pretty rough.
It was, and I need sleep. Like, I sleep a lot. Thankfully, my husband can run off about 4 hours at night, but I cannot. I always wanted 8. So those 2.5 years were very tough.
Yeah. That's hard. And he sleeps now pretty good?
He does. Thank goodness.
6-8 hours?
Nights, as long as his schedule stays pretty consistent, we're up to about 5 or 6 a night. And I will take it.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I feel lucky that Isaiah sleeps as well as he does. But you have to really tire him out. Like he can't stay inside all day and play on a tablet or something. You got to get him out and get his energy out somehow.
Yes.
I have a good friend. His son's 11. He's autistic too, but he's never slept either. They said they maybe sleep 2 or 3 hours a night, and he can't sleep in the bed. It has to be his wife and his son.
Yeah.
And then recently, so he told me a month ago, this is funny, but it's not funny. He's like, we're finally getting some sleep, man. I was like, why? What happened? He said, his son has all of a sudden started having an infatuation with mattresses. And I was like, okay. And he said, so he's sleeping now, but he has to take all the mattresses of the house and put them all in the master bedroom. And he said, so him and his wife are sleeping in the master bedroom on the bed, and the rest of the room's filled up with mattresses. But my buddy, he's having to sleep on the floor in another room. He said, I'm sleeping on the floor. He said, but I'll take it.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's
Wesley likes our bed the best. So if he will sleep in the bed with me, but it's like playing a game of Twister. Like his feet have to be touching you, or he sleeps
his
long
elbow,
ways. Yeah. So I mean, he has a queen size bed, but I guess that's not big enough. He wants the king size bed to himself, and we make do. As long as we're getting 5 or 6 hours a night, I will take it also.
Yeah, that's 6 is better than 5, but
yes.
The Isaiah still sleeps between us, but and he's huge. So if he gets turned just a little bit, it's not the greatest setup.
Yeah.
Does he dig his foot into your sides? Does he put
his foot has to go underneath me for him to go to sleep?
Like in your armpit or something too?
Not usually my armpit, but usually my stomach, or my thigh. He will just scoot his foot as far as he possibly can. And he's always done that.
Isaiah's always done it in my armpit or my side. He does it to my wife's thigh, but yeah, and he just grinds it. Until he gets it to where he's comfortable, and then it's like,
Yes.
okay, I'm good now. No, people that don't ever get to experience that stuff don't know what they're missing out on.
No. It's got to the point where I'm like, where's Wesley? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, even though Isaiah's 7, he still cuddles like he's a baby, and that's my wife's like, this is kind of, some parents might miss this one day,
Yep.
What piece of advice would you give? Because I've got a lot of people that are starting out their journey or have suspicions about their child may be different or on the spectrum. Looking back, what piece of advice would you give to your former self or somebody just getting on this path?
My biggest piece of advice is, first, don't be too hard on yourself. You didn't cause it. The second is you're going to have to be the advocate for your child because nobody else is going to do it for you. And that's been one of our biggest things is I advocate for Wesley every day. I will never stop. And if you don't, nobody else is going to do it. And there's things that our children deserve that maybe they're not going to get, whether it's therapy or schooling, just anything. Just be prepared because it's going to be a fight, but don't give up and don't stop advocating for your kid.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Well said. That's perfect. The advocate part is the biggest part too.
Yeah.
It's truly like they're your guardian, but you're also theirs.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I appreciate it so much. Where can we find you? Facebook, Steffani Sutton?
Yes, it's Steffani Terry Sutton.
Steffani Terry Sutton.
And anybody can reach out, but my name is spelled crazy. I tell everybody my parents couldn't spell.
Yes.
So if you'll link it. Yeah.
Every time I try to write your meal plan, I have to backspace and type it like 4 or 5 times because it auto populates. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you it's spelled this way.
Yes, it is. But we're going to go with my parents couldn't spell. It's fine.
Hey, I think it's cool. It makes you sound Italian or something. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. But thanks for being here. I know it's hard finding time to get away, and Wesley's got a great mom, and just know that you're doing a great job. I know it's tough, and sometimes it feels like the weight of the world's on your shoulders, but you're doing everything right.
Thank you. It's good to hear that, and same to y'all because I watch Isaiah's stories that y'all post.
Yeah, I would if I could just make money following him around all day and filming him. I would.
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to want to get away from that, like that feeling that he gives you.
Yeah. And I mean, if you don't know an autistic child, you're missing out because
truly
Wesley's amazing. Yeah.
Truly. As much of one of that episodes I called turning burdens into blessings. And that's really, that's really what it is.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Steffani, and have a great night. Tell Mr. Wesley, great job. We love him, and I know he's gonna do great things.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to the Superhero Parent Pod. I appreciate your support so much. Words cannot describe how much it means to me. Send this show to everyone who could benefit from it, and thank you so much. Again, we are on Apple, Spotify, Audible, Amazon, wherever you find your podcast at, we should be there. And in the show notes, in the show description, the application to be on the show is embedded in that. So if you yourself would like to come on the show and tell your story, if you know someone who would benefit from being on the show or could positively impact others from being on the show, feel free to send that application to them as well. Remember, strength comes through transparency. Okay, we are all in this together. Do not struggle alone. Do not feel like you are isolated. That is the devil. What the devil wants us to do is to isolate us and make us feel weak, and you are not that. So strength comes through transparency, and by being on the show and telling your story, you're not only strengthening yourself, but everyone else around you, people that you may never even come in contact with, could hear your story, and it may just brighten their day. All right, so that application is in the description and in the show notes. Feel free to send it to someone. Feel free to fill it out yourself if you feel like your child's story will benefit others. Someone from our team will reach out to you and let you know if you've been approved to be on the show or not. And again, thank you so much. Stay strong, stay healthy. Everybody keep moving in the right direction, and have a great rest of the day. God bless.